Hey friends, summer's coming. And just like we do some preparations for summer with maybe working out a little bit more, maybe eating a little cleaner to get our bodies ready for summer, I want to help you get your business ready for summer. So last week I held a virtual workshop called the Summer Ready Success Workshop, and I had such great feedback from this, and maybe you missed it. And so I wanted to let you know that I have the replay up for you to go and watch, go and learn how to have balance with your family, with your self-care, with your just busy summer schedule, have strategies to boost your productivity and maximize your summer success. So you want to go to martinewilliams.com/summer. And this is where you're going to be able to watch the virtual training. You'll have a guide that goes along with it to help you actually implement the strategies that you learn. So again, go to martinewilliams.com/summer and let's get you summer ready for success. Welcome to the Mompreneur Life Remix podcast, where you will learn how to remix your mompreneur life so that you can win at work without losing yourself in the process. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I am your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business and elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl and hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Mompreneur Life Remix podcast. Let's do this. If you're in the midst of a waiting season, if you are wondering when the breakthrough is coming, how the breakthrough is going to come, all the things that go through our minds during a waiting season, and like, what do we actually do during the wait? This episode is going to be for you. I am really excited just to kind of have a heart-to-heart conversation with you around waiting and persevering. And I heard Lisa Harper say the other day that perseverance is not a posture of passivity. And that really stuck with me, because what that means is while you're persevering, while you're waiting for the breakthrough, there are things we can be actively doing. And I've been thinking about my own waiting season that I'm in right now and that I have been in. And it has presented lots of challenges and lots of opportunities to grow my faith and to really just lean in to perseverance in a fresh new way. And so today I want to share with you 3 things that you can actively do during the wait that will help you in your season of wait. So I wanted just to start out with to say that if you are in a waiting season, I totally understand how excruciating it can feel, how long it can feel. And honestly, 3 years ago, I wouldn't have understood, because I can remember sitting in church and in sermons and them praying for people who've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for their miracle or waiting for their breakthrough. And, obviously coming alongside and praying for people who have been in a waiting season, but haven't fully experienced that myself. And I just remember being so grateful and thankful that I haven't had long seasons of waiting. And it's interesting that how I've been in that now for 3 years. And while I'm still somewhat in a season of waiting, there have been breakthroughs. And I do hope at one point in time, I will be able to share the full story of how just God has worked and moved in me personally and relationally and professionally. And there's just so many things that I want to be able to share with you, but I know the time is not now to share all of that with you. But for those of you who have been on this journey with me since I started this podcast, which by the way, on Monday, July 8th, it will be my 3-year anniversary since I launched this podcast. Like what? How has it been 3 years, y'all? So y'all have been with me. Those of you who have been with me from the very beginning, you know that, I was called out of my professional career with 31 Gifts that I was with for 16 years. and was immediately called into a season of rest. You can call that a season of wait too, I guess, because I really didn't know why God called me out specifically. He just said go, and he didn't say where, and he didn't say how. And so there were a lot of questions that I had at that time, and things are really, starting to unfold. And the verse that he gave me was the verse in Isaiah that talks about, I'm doing a new thing, do you not perceive it? And I can remember saying, no, I don't see it. I know you're doing something new, but I don't see how, I don't see why, and had lots of questions. I'm a person who has lots of questions. I'm very curious, and I want to know the details. So, now 3 years later, I can see, well, almost 3 years later, I can see the reasons, not full reasons, but I can see some of the reasons. But I understand the seasons of wait for the breakthrough. And like I said, I hope one day to be able to share with you more details on just some of the most recent ones that have happened. But I just last week just started thinking about, there are people I know right now that are in a waiting season. And what can I share with them today? Like, what did I need and what do I still need to hear while I'm waiting? And how can I not have a posture of passivity? And how have I been able to stay active while I'm waiting? Like, what are some things that have been able to help me while I'm waiting? And so the three things I want to talk about today to help you is one, strengthening your faith. Number two, personally growing and developing. And number three, serving others. And so the first one is strengthening your faith. And so these are things I'm actively doing and have actively been doing during this season of wait. And what I do to strengthen my own faith is definitely prayer. And I heard this at church, I would say about a month ago, and I felt so much freedom when I heard this. I'd never heard it before. And the pastor said, the one who sings praise twice. And that's from St. Augustine. And I was like, yes, because to me, worship music is how I pray. It really is. It's how I protect my mind. Y'all know this podcast is called the Mompreneur Life Remixed. Remixed is a music word, and I love music. I don't think that's any new to any of you that have been listening for some time, but all kinds of music. But when I'm in a season of wait, specifically when I'm in a really, really hard season, I double down on this because it is my way of praying, and it is my way of deepening my relationship with God. And it just provides so much clarity and peace during the waiting season. And there are songs that y'all know, if you know, if you're a God girl, there are some songs that you feel like, oh my gosh, this was written just for me. Like, it's meeting me exactly where I am at. And sometimes I listen to those songs over and over and over again, and they just provide so much peace and comfort for me. So that's something that I actively do. And I'm actually going to include for you in this podcast a link to my Spotify. I call it Worship Over Worry playlist, and it's my go-to. And I listen to it in the morning, I listen to it while I'm walking, I listen to it in the car. Like, when I'm in a really heavy season of waiting and just not understanding what's going on, and there's a storm just brewing around me, worship and prayer is what brings me back to peace. It brings me back to clarity. So the second thing in helping to strengthen my faith is studying the scriptures and really diving into the Bible and find stories and verses that relate to waiting and relate to patience, and reflect on all the times, how God's timing is perfect. I mean, right now there again, so many stories that I want to share with you at some point of how God's timing and provision have just been so on point. And just know He's with you and He's for you. And that has strengthened my faith to be in the scriptures, be in the Bible, and be in the Word, right? The sword of the Spirit, and just knowing the Word. And then the other thing that's helped with specific to strengthening my faith is being in faith community, like engaging with fellow believers in the faith for community and support and encouragement. Like, I would not have been able to endure these last 3 years if it wasn't for my faith community and those who have the same values and the same beliefs, and can help me strengthen my belief and share their stories of redemption or their stories of waiting seasons and how they've come through and the breakthroughs they've had, because they're on the other side of it. Like, we need those communities of faith, of people who can help you to stay connected and help you to stay uplifted. So I'm going to include again that link for you to my Worship Over Worry playlist. And if you're a music girl, you're going to love this. It really will help you to strengthen your faith. The second one is personal growth and development. So when I think about my waiting seasons, really using that time as self-reflection. When God first called me out of 31, and he really did call me into a season of rest, and you can call it rest or waiting. It was both, but it was really a time of reflection on, my goals, my strengths, my areas of improvement. It was a reflection of all that I have accomplished over the years, and also where he wanted me to go next, right? And just preparation for where he was going to take me next. And one of the tools that I used for that was journaling. And y'all have heard me talk about, I think, the Cultivate What Matters journals. They are my absolute favorite. They're called Write the Word journals. So for me, looking at a blank notebook, because I've had friends who journal and they love to journal and they've been telling me for years to journal. And I'm like, okay, yeah. But when I found this journal, it really helped me because looking at a blank page was very intimidating for me. Even when I was a kid trying to write papers, like getting that first sentence out was always the hardest. And then it would just flow, right? So these journals actually have, they give you like a place to write, the date, like what the day is, your gratitude, like what you're grateful for. That's the first thing you start with. And then it gives you a scripture to look up and handwrite. So you write it out, which I love that because it helps you to remember it when you're putting pen to paper. And then on the other side of the journal is a place for you just to share what's on your heart, and then kind of summarize it at the bottom with like one word, for the day for you to think on. And so for me, it gave me that template and that structure that I needed to journal. And I've been using those journals for almost 3 years now, and they are amazing. They have all different ones that are on like hope or confidence or renewal or fruit of the spirit. There's lots of different ones. So I'll definitely leave you a link in the show notes for that as well. So to personally grow and develop during your waiting season, like use that time as a self-reflection. And then also learning and building, skill building. So during the waiting period to learn a new skill or deepen your knowledge in areas of interest, that can be like, through online courses or reading books. I've done a lot more reading during this season of wait, and I've attended some coaching. I'm invested in some more coaching, some different coaching. And even though I wasn't sure what I was going to do next, I did feel like it was the time for me to invest in becoming PDP certified so I could utilize the Pro Scan in my coaching, whatever that looked like. And so that really helped during the waiting season, because if you're anything like me and you're a life learner, learning just keeps excitement going. It makes me feel like I'm being productive, that I'm on purpose. And so there was definitely half seasons in there where part of my personal growth and development was investing in learning new skills. Hey friend, can I give you permission today? Like for real, your own permission slip. Permission to get clear, to cut out the noise, mostly the noise that is going on around in your own mind, in your own head. It's just swirling. And you're asking yourself questions like, why am I stuck? Why am I frustrated? Why am I not making progress on my goals? I want to invite you to a free clarity call with me where we're going to dive in and we're going to identify what are the 3 main issues that are keeping you stuck. Number 2, what are the mindsets around those issues that are actually keeping you from solving for those issues? It's not our skill sets, it's our mindsets that keep us stuck and hold us back. And then number 3, identifying what are your next steps. We all have a next step, and we have 100% responsibility for those next steps. Your only next step right now is to go to the show notes and book your free clarity call so that we can work through this. I'm believing in you, and I cannot wait to see you on our clarity call. And then another piece of this personal and growth and development is healthy habits. So when you're in a season of waiting, like it can be exhausting on all levels, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. And so what can you control when you're in a season of waiting? You can control your habits. You can control how you nurture your body, how you nurture your mind and your spirit. So for me, that includes exercise, like walking every day. While I'm walking up, again, either listening to my worship music, I'm listening to a podcast. I have even challenged myself in the last 2 months and got a weighted vest. So I'm wearing a weighted vest while I walk now and walking the dog every morning, lifting weights. For those of us that are over 40, we definitely need to be doing more resistance training. And so I've always loved that way more than cardio. So learning some new things, doing some new workouts, being very, very protective over my sleep, because it's exhausting when you're in a waiting season. And even though you may not feel like you're doing a lot, especially if you're in a waiting season, you are still up in your head, right? Things are just constantly turning and turning and turning and turning and turning. And so you may not be physically tired, but you are emotionally probably tired. So protecting your sleep. Are you getting adequate sleep? 7 to 8 hours. I don't care what anyone says. The science is there. 7 to 8 hours is what you need. And so how can you create healthy habit around rest, getting sufficient rest? If you need to take more breaks throughout the day, do that. If you need to say no to some things, y'all know I'm big on that word. This is probably the season for you to do that. And then what are you fueling your body with as far as your food choices? Really being intentional about feeding yourself healthy foods that are actually going to fuel your body and not bog it down with sugars and just like wasted calories. So during a season of wait, and how do you persevere and how do you not have a posture of passivity, is that you self-reflect, you learn a new skill, you establish healthy habits. Those are all part of how I have been able to grow personally through these seasons of wait. And then the last one, the third one, is serving others. When I'm in a season of wait, or when I'm just, feeling down, right, and out. And that's part of the waiting season, is you're just like, what's wrong with me? What's going on with me? Why am I, feeling the things that I'm feeling? Why is this taking so long? Maybe it's just me who asked that question, but it just feels like it's never going to happen. And there's a lot of details that go into that, again, that I'll be able to share with you on some day. But what I have learned for myself is to get out of self and into service. Like if I can get out of self and into service, it immediately fuels me. It's an active way to persevere during those seasons. So this could look like volunteering, like ways to serve others in your community. Volunteering can provide that sense of purpose and fulfillment during the waiting time. So again, that could be serving your neighbor. That could be at the church, at school, at a local nonprofit. Like how can you get out of self and into service? Acts of kindness, like the smallest acts of kindness, can have the biggest impact. So look for those opportunities to brighten someone else's day, which can also uplift your own spirit, because there's always someone around you who is in a different situation, different challenges, and maybe even greater challenges that you're experiencing. That doesn't downplay your challenge. I want you to hear me clearly on that, because I do find so many of us don't give ourselves permission to grieve during a waiting season or a disappointment season, because we're like, well, I don't have her problem, or my family's not dealing with that problem. And while that can give you great perspective that there's always someone around you who has a greater challenge than you, it's still, you still have a challenge, and you still have and need permission to grieve and feel the emotions that you're feeling around your situation. So don't sweep it under the rug and just hide behind acts of kindness, and like don't not deal with what you're going through. I'm not saying that, but when you get out of self and into service, it just immediately shifts your mindset and helps you to uplift your spirit. It does for me, and it has during the season. And then the last is support network. So offer your support, right, to your friends, to your family who might be going through their own waiting season. Be a source of encouragement. Being a source of encouragement can strengthen your relationships and build a supportive community around you. Again, getting out of self and into service. And I want to speak to all of my encouragers out there, to all the strong women out there who that's the badge that you wear, is I'm the encourager. I'm the strong one. I'm the one who people always come to me because I'm the strong one. I'm the one who helps uplift and encourage. It's okay for you to be that person who needs that in this season. It's okay for you to say, I'm not okay. It's okay for you to say, I need prayer. It's okay for you to cry and say, I don't know what's going to happen. It's okay for you to not have the answers and to not be able to be that person for someone else 24/7, 365. It's okay to take that role off for a season and be in a season of receiving encouragement, receiving support. I find the strong ones, those are the ones we need to check in on the most, right? Because it's like an identity crisis when you're in a waiting season. You feel like, I don't have it in me to be that encourager for other people. Y'all know that's my superpower. That's what I do best. It's just in me. It's the gift that God has given me. And there have been many times in this season of wait where I just haven't had it in me. And I've given myself permission to take that hat off at certain times. And then there are days where I'm like, I need to be that person because it helps me, right? It fuels me. But allow yourself time to take that identity off if you need to. If it's just getting too heavy for you to carry, it's okay for someone to come alongside you and share the load. You don't have to keep being the strong one for everyone else and suffer in silence. And I've done that the wrong way. And it does nothing but make you sick. It makes you emotionally sick. It makes you physically sick, and it'll make you spiritually sick too. So while I say get out and serve others and get out of self into service, that does help. But I don't want you to think that that means just sweep your stuff under the rug and not be open to the support and the same love and the same compassion, the same support you give others. You deserve that too. So I hope that this will encourage you if you're in a waiting season, and really just want to emphasize that nothing is wasted. Like, the waiting season will not be wasted time. It's a valuable opportunity for growth, for deepening your faith, for serving others. So I encourage you to trust God's timing and remain hopeful for what lies ahead. And remember that perseverance is not a posture of passivity. It's not just sitting back and waiting on things to happen. There are things you can do in the wait that will help you through the wait. I just gave you 3: strengthening your faith, personally growing and developing, and then serving others. So I know this was a little different episode than what I normally share, and I'm planning to do more solo episodes in the months to come. But this was just really heavy on my heart that I know there's someone listening who's in a waiting season, and like, how can I help you make that waiting season fruitful, make it a little bit easier maybe for you. And these are the things that I do and have been doing during my season of wait. And I hope that it will encourage you and inspire you and give you hope, because that's what I want to do in this podcast, is encourage and inspire and give you hope and give you practical things that you can do to endure your waiting seasons. So we have lots of amazing Turquoise Talk guests lined up for this month. I am super excited for all of them. I'd love for you to, I'm still not on Instagram. I mean, I'm on there in my DMs, but I'm not posting. So if you're on Instagram, you're like, where's Martine? I'm still on my social media break. It's been really, really healthy for me, really, really good for me. So I'm going to continue on with that, but you can always reach out to me at martinewilliams.com. That's my email address. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram. I will get it. It will be me. I will talk with you. And then you can always go to martinewilliams.com, which is my website, and go check out and see what's going on over there. And I look forward to celebrating my 3-year anniversary. Cannot believe that's here with this podcast. And I want you to know that I understand the waiting seasons, how hard they can be, but you're strong and God is even stronger, and He will carry you through this. And while you may not have all the details and the answers right now, He does. And so trust in Him and trust in this season that it is not wasted. Every tear you've cried during the season is not wasted. He's going to use it all, and just trust in that. So easy to say, but I have done it. I'm doing it right now. And so I just wanted to come out and encourage you with that. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next episode. And you know that I am believing in you always. Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again. And until next time, I am believing in you always.